Who is the third most powerful person, highly sensitive operations meant to handle in the Narendra Modi government?
The views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal and do not reflect the views of any organization.
Hello and welcome friends once again to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Who is the third most powerful person in the Narendra Modi government? Interesting question, no? We know, after all, number one, numero uno, is the one and only Mr. Modi himself, the supreme leader of his party and the government. He's a bit like Amitabh Bachchan in Bollywood in the late 1970s, when Bachchan was hero number one by some distance. Then there is, of course, Amit Shah, the number one's unquestioned number two. Mr. Modi proposes, Amit Shah disposes. There is little doubt, for example, that in the last week in Parliament during the Women's Reservation Bill, the entire discussions confirmed that Amit Shah is the one who is the key point person meant to handle all the main tasks for this government, from crisis management to election management to taking control of Parliament. So who is then the number three? Now there will be those who will suggest it is Mohan Bhagwat, the RSS Sarsangchalak, who deserves the number three tag. He is, after all, the chief of the ideological fountainhead of this BJP government. But Mr. Bhagwat, unlike many of his predecessors, has stayed away from assuming an outsized role for himself. He is content, it would appear, with driving a cultural agenda, not in supervising or monitoring the Modi government in any manner. Then there is Dr. S. Jai Shankar, the rising star, whose star continues to rise post G20. There are even whispers in the corridors of power that one day Dr. Jai Shankar could be Mr. Modi's Manmohan Singh. My own view is that a full-time politician like Mr. Modi will never want or need a Dr. Singh-like figure. Yes, Jai Shankar could be given more responsibility, but he will never be a number two or three when it comes to decision making in a Modi-led government. If you ask some opposition members, they will tell you that the number three is Gautam Madani, the industrialist who Rahul Gandhi at least is convinced is the chief money bags of this government. But Gautam Bhai, I can tell you, and I've said this on Straight Bat in the past, is a businessman first, with a network across party lines. Then there is also P.K. Mishra, the Prime Minister's all-powerful principal secretary. Nothing moves in government without Mr. Mishra's knowledge. But Mr. Mishra is also an old-style bureaucrat. He takes the cue, the orders from his boss. He's powerful, but in the end, dependent on number one. That doesn't quite make him, in my view, number three. So who is the third most powerful person in the government? The answer, my friends, is someone who's rarely seen in public, but who runs the show in the shadows. The National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval, could well qualify as the number three in this power arrangement. In the last 9 years, you perhaps haven't seen Mr. Doval at fancy media conclaves. He hasn't given interviews. He has only been giving the odd speech in very private, closed, organized manner. He has stayed away from the public glare. But trust me, it is the former IPS officer and Intelligence Bureau chief who is the one who has been a constant key backroom figure in both Modi 1.0 and 2.0. Mr. Modi trusts him implicitly, and all major decisions involving national security and often international policy have had the Doval stamp. Then be it the 2016 surgical strikes across the line of control, or indeed the Balakot operation after Pulwama, it is Doval who was the driver and even the executor at times of these highly sensitive operations. The decision to revoke Article 317 Jammu and Kashmir in 2019 may have been finally taken by the Prime Minister himself, but it was proposed by Amit Shah and the Home Ministry, but executed on the ground and planned in a way by Mr. Doval and his team. In fact, Mr. Doval spent days on the ground in Jammu and Kashmir supervising the entire security dragnet in the valley in the aftermath of the political decision that was taken in Delhi. On every major foreign policy initiative of this government, Mr. Doval often has had what can be described as the hidden hand, the shadowy figure lurking in the background. So far, it's all gone pretty smoothly and Mr. Doval's star has continued to shine brightly. But now for the first time, Ajit Doval may find himself in a bit of a controversy. The India versus Canada public war of words and diplomatic retaliatory tit-for-tat action stems from Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's allegation that the government of India is involved in the killing of a Khalistani terrorist, Rajdeep Singh Nijjar. Now, the allegation in itself, without providing any hard evidence in the public domain, is frankly extraordinary. It is one thing, for example, for a Pakistan to claim that an Indian spy has been caught and is being prosecuted. Pakistan will make any and every attempt to discredit India. Covert operations between the two countries are no secret, and spies in both countries have languished at times in each other's jails. But this time, the allegation is being made by a Western power, one that is seen to be a responsible power, whose political leadership, though, has unfortunately normalized the activities of Khalistani terrorists based on its soil, who clearly enjoy a high level of political patronage in Canada. So where does Mr. Doval fit in all this? Well, the fact is, Mr. Doval has earned a James Bond-like reputation in his many years in the police and intelligence services as a bit of a daredevil, someone who reportedly, during Operation Black Thunder in 1988, to flush out Khalistani terrorists, had disguised himself as an auto rickshaw driver and convinced the terrorists who had holed up inside the Golden Temple that he was an ISI operative who had been sent by his Pakistani masters to help the Khalistani cause. Now, those reports suggest that Mr. Doval, as a spook, a spy, had a key role to play in helping the security forces then under KPS Gill's leadership to flush out the terrorists. This at least is the story that has been written and spoken about. Mr. Doval himself hasn't confirmed it, but it is now the stuff of intelligence folklore. True or not, what is true is that Ajit Doval has often spoken about the need to launch Israeli-style, Mossad-style operations against India's most wanted. I distinctly recall, for example, Mr. Doval in a pre-2014 avatar when he used to regularly come to our TV studios as a talking head to comment on strategic affairs. On more than one occasion, Mr. Doval questioned why the Indian government hadn't done enough to at least attempt to take out Dawood Ibrahim, mastermind of the 1993 Mumbai blast and India's most wanted. Mr. Doval was very clear at the time. If there was a political will, it was possible to launch a potentially high risk, but again a high gain operation against the then Karachi-based fugitive Dawood. Now there are whispers in power, my friends, that maybe, just maybe, India has been considering similar operations against India's most wanted in other countries too. And that could include someone like a Nijjar in Canada. Of course, we may never know the truth. Certainly, Canada hasn't provided any credible evidence as yet in the public domain of Indian involvement. But because there is a belief that we do now have a national security advisor who's willing to take these high risks, the Modi government's policy of muscular nationalism may have led to adventurism that could include an extrajudicial, extraterritorial strike inside Canada. Let's be clear, no one should have any sympathy for Nijjar and his ilk. But Canada is not Pakistan. This is a country where more than 3 lakh Indian citizens on student visas alone reside at the moment. If at all India did take out Niger, is that a risk worth taking? And what will be the diplomatic fallout now? That is a question which perhaps only the third most powerful person in the Narendra Modi government can answer today. As a postscript, while India gets tough with the Canadian government, here is my question. We can get tough with Canada and talk tough and be cheered by domestic audiences here. But what of Manipur, an integral part of this country? Last week, my friends, an army officer from the small Kom tribal community was abducted in front of his 10-year-old child and killed by unknown people, allegedly linked to a local militant group. This happened in Imphal. Who will speak up and then deliver justice to this family? Who will deliver justice, in fact, to the victims in Manipur who are caught at the moment in this ethnic war? Will that also get the same attention that Canada is at the moment? Think about it. That was the Straight Bat. Do, of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind, Namaskar, Happy Ganesh Chaturthi.